LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. We've used this for years to identify those that are not heterosexual. Occasionally, they'll add on those that are questioning their sexuality and allies. The LGBT fails to point out a sexual orientation that I believe deserves recognition. Asexuals. Most people have never heard of asexuality or don't know what it is. So there are a couple of things you should know. What asexuality is, the types of asexuality, and why you've never heard of it before, and why you probably should. Although the exact definition of asexuality is still debated, it's generally defined as someone who doesn't experience sexual attraction. Some people also consider it a lack of desire to have sex. This is not celibacy. It's simply that you don't want to, you're not attracted to anybody. It's not that for any personal beliefs. There are no definite statistics on asexuality because it's so unknown. People either don't want to admit that they're asexual or don't know that it exists. But a 2004 British survey of 18,000 people, 1% of the population is estimated to be asexual. This is a sexual orientation. It's who you're attracted to, and it happens to be no one. One of the reasons it's so hard to define asexuality is because it's so broad. There's a lot of different types. Being asexual doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be sad and lonely for the rest of your life. Though some people do choose to have no relationships, there is another side of it, the romantic aspect. You form relationships, you just don't have sex. You could be heteroromantic, homoromantic, aromantic. I personally identify as a heteromantic asexual. But being asexual doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have sex. Some asexuals do have sex just to please their romantic partner. Another concept of this is the gray area, which according to asexuality.org is the occasional experience of sexual attraction, or you experience sexual attraction but you have low sex drive, or you even have both but you feel no need to act on it. This is what makes it hard to pin down. There's so many different types of asexuality. Hopefully, as it becomes better well known, more research will be done on it, and we can try to figure that out. Now that you know what it is, why have you never heard of it, if you haven't at least? Sexuality has never really been a big part of the world, but recently it has been. We've become really open about it. And so before that, it didn't really matter if you were asexual or not. But now that it does, it's just kind of there. Because the world is so sexualized, most people don't want to admit that it's actually possible to not want to have sex. They try to say that your sexuality is very deep, or as in among the asexuals in The Guardian, they try to fix you. They also just kind of wonder, why does it matter? Why does it matter that you're not having sex? Nobody ever actually cares about that. This is also harder to accept than being gay as such, because you don't like anybody. Because asexuality is so unknown, it can be so hard to actually figure out that you are one. But it needs to become more well known for people that need to figure it out. Sometimes when you feel that you're different, you really want something to identify with, an actual title to put yourself on. And it's always sometimes pretty unlikely that you might just stumble across a website or an article that'll tell you about it. And that can be hard for anyone. In conclusion, asexuality is a sexual orientation that does exist and that people need to be more aware of. Hopefully you are aware now that you know what it is, the different types of asexuality, and why so few people know about it, and why they should.